What's up, guys? Today we're going to be revisiting the Galaxy S10e here in mid 2024, and we're also filming this with the Galaxy S24 Ultra. I like filming with this just to show you guys the camera quality sometimes on this phone is really awesome. But let's talk about the S10e. This is a fan favorite on the channel, and it's a favorite of mine because it's a really unique phone to always come back to, because Samsung has never made another compact phone. And a lot of people like to argue about what is actually compact, but this phone, it's a 5.8-inch phone, so it's extremely easy to use. I know it's not like crazy small, but it's really easy to use, especially for anyone with smaller hands. And I feel like it's really like a perfect size. Not too many other manufacturers make smaller phones. I think Asus is the last to make like an actual compact flagship. But it's something that a lot of people like. It's a 5.8-inch display. It's dynamic AMOLED. It's HDR10 plus. The display still looks really good here in 2024. It's 1080p 438 for the PPI. It's still super sharp, and it's got that punch hole on the right hand side, which is always fun to kind of put wallpapers on. But the display still it's a really beautiful display still. I think the only thing that you could say is dated about the display is the lack of any type of high refresh rate. But that is pretty much it. It does a pretty decent job outdoors. Obviously it's not as good as the newer phones in direct sunlight, but I was still kind of able to see it, even though it was sunny today. I didn't struggle too bad, but yeah. I also want to talk about the overall build quality. I think the S10 series in general was really nice looking series. So the design still looks really good on here. It's a glass back, it's an aluminum frame, and I think it still looks nice. I really love this blue color as well too, and it's IP68 dust and water resistant. And what I love about the hardware of the S10e is that it does have the side mounted physical fingerprint scanner, which I think is just more natural and easier to get into your phone than the actual under the display fingerprint sensor, even though that it looks more futuristic and advanced. But I really like the physical side mounted one. So this phone, it got its last major update with Android 12 One UI 4.1. Now honestly, it doesn't really feel that outdated in terms of software, even though this phone's not getting security patches or any type of updates. It doesn't really feel that outdated. It still pretty much has a lot of the essentials that the S24 Ultra has, like Samsung desktop support. You can still use Good Lock on here. All the apps work. You can still play games. It's got the Snapdragon 855 chip on here, and this thing was just blowing through Call of Duty. Now, obviously, it's not gonna play at the absolute best settings like something that the S24 Ultra would do with PUBG or whatever. But this phone, I had really no complaints about gaming. It wasn't overheating or anything like that. And what's interesting about these phones is a lot of people really like micro SD card support. It's something that the smartphone companies took away to sell you up on gigabytes. And yeah, a lot of companies just don't make it, so you have a pretty large audience that really misses the SD card support. It's got 128 gigs of internal storage and 6 gigs of RAM on this model, so being able to expand the storage is always a really nice thing with these older phones. Also, what's really cool about this phone is that it does have a headphone jack as well, with pretty nice sounding speakers, especially for the size of these speakers. They sound really crisp and clear still in 2024. And then also you got that small demographic of people who still really like a physical headphone jack, which is always nice. So I do want to talk about the overall camera quality here in 2024. So outdoor photography was really good. It's got a 12 megapixel standard and a 16 megapixel ultra wide. It's only missing a telephoto lens. It's got a 4K 60 video and a 10 megapixel selfie with 4K 60 video. So what's interesting about the S10e is that the photos still look great, dynamic range, detail. I do think the colors are a little bit too vivid on this phone. Like, it really like dials the vividness up as far as the colors go. But besides that, you can always do color correction. But yeah, I think the photos still look really good. The ultra wide camera is still kind of consistent with the main lens as well. Video quality is still pretty good on here. Now, like a lot of older flagships, this phone is going to suffer when it comes to low light photography. So you will notice it definitely will get a little bit grainy. I can definitely see the aging in the selfie cam as well too. But if you're outdoors, you'll be surprised that this phone will actually get you a really good shot still. All right, so one of the biggest issues with the Galaxy S10e, and this was a big issue at the time, which is why a lot of smartphone companies, I guess, stopped making these smaller phones, including Apple as well too. With, you remember their mini series. So this phone has a 3,100 milliamp hour battery. It's got 15-watt charging. It does have wireless and reverse wireless charging as well too. So the issue with these phones at the time was that you just didn't really get good screen on time with this phone. It got around like 4 hours 30 minutes of screen on time, and if you were playing games you could easily, you know, kill the phone in like maybe 2-3 hours. So yeah, so the battery life wasn't really that great on the S10e. This is a phone that you would easily have to buy like a, you know, power bank for this phone if you're gonna be away from a charger. But yeah, so that's like the one downside. But what's interesting about that is that, you know, we fast forward to the future with Apple trying to do this with the mini series, and they fixed the battery life with phones like the 13 mini, and people still didn't want to buy it. It was one of their worst selling phones, I think. So people just don't like small phones, I think, in general. That's why kind of, you know, the compact phone market kind of died off. But these phones are extremely comfortable, and I just love the size of these phones. So what do you guys think? Would you buy a compact phone in 2024? Let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.